Mother and daughter found dead in Clarendon. The decomposing bodies of two females were found in a house in Brandon Hill, Clarendon. The women have been identified as 70-year-old retired teacher Sylvia Simmet and her daughter, 36-year-old Natalie Larman. Reports from the police are that Larman was last seen on Monday going to a nearby shop. Citizens became suspicious, and during a check at their home, they stumbled upon the body in a state of decomposition. The police were alerted a post-mortem examination will be done. Local government elections set for February 26. Local government elections are to be held on February 26, with nomination day being February 8. Minister of Local Government Desmond McKinsey made the announcement at the Montego Bay Convention Centre in St. James. The occasion was a meeting of Jamaica Labour Party local government candidates at the Montego Bay Convention Centre in St. James. Under the representation of the People's Act, nomination day shall be at least 5 clear days after the announcement of an election. The law also provides for election day to be at least 16 days or no more than 23 days after nomination day. Local elections were last held in Jamaica on November 28, 2016. 3 arrested in relation to seizure of over 600 pounds of agricultural produce in Manchester. 3 men were arrested and over 600 pounds of agricultural produce seized as the Manchester police continue to clamp down on predatory larceny. Operations Officer for Manchester, Deputy Superintendent of Police Colin Johnson, says the men were taken into custody following a traffic stop along the Kingsland Main Road yesterday. DSP Johnson says over the last 2 weeks, 6 people have been arrested. He stated that police have received several reports of predatory larceny in recent weeks. He further stated that one of those arrested is a repeat offender, while another is a relative of a man who was detained in relation to the theft of goods recently.
3 were charged for larceny of cattle, and today about 12:15 p.m. along the Kingsland Main Road, Manchester, 1 car was stopped during a stop and search, and several bags containing carrots and Irish potato were found in the car. 3 men have since been arrested and charged. Carrot amounted to over 500 pounds and about 100 pounds of Irish potato. The age group of persons that were arrested are 47 years old, 27 and 26 years old. They will be charged for unlawful possession of agricultural produce, transporting agricultural produce without a receipt, and being in possession of agricultural produce without a receipt. Also, an application will be made to the court for the forfeiture of a Honda Civic motor car which was seized. 1 person in the group that we are considered a second generation in terms of pre-dealt theft in the parish of Manchester. He has been arrested on several occasions for this offence, and also he will serve some time in prison for illegal possession of firearm and ammunition. One of the men that has been arrested today is the father of one of the men who was held 2 weeks ago with the goats.
Update: cop injured in St. Anne Highway hit and run has died. The policeman who was mowed down during a traffic stop along the North-South Highway in St. Anne has succumbed. He is Constable Roshan Lee, who was assigned to the Public Safety and Traffic Enforcement Branch. The police high command says it is saddened by Lee's death, who passed away in hospital. It says its chaplaincy branch and welfare department are providing support to the family members, friends and colleagues of Constable Lee. Last night, he suffered injuries to his head and other parts of his body and was rendered unconscious. The police report that about 11:40 p.m. on January 31, a team was conducting vehicular checkpoints duty along the highway in Unity Valley in St. Anne when the driver of a Toyota Probox motor car who was reportedly traveling at high speed was signaled to stop. The driver reportedly slowed down and then sped off, hitting the policeman in the process. The injured cop was rushed to St. Anne's Bay Regional Hospital, where he was admitted. He subsequently died. Public Sector NHD mortgagors now able to receive contribution funds in cash. Arrangements are now in place to allow public sector workers who are National Housing Trust NHD mortgagors to receive contribution refunds in cash during the current application period. Assistant General Manager for Corporate Communications and Public Affairs, Dwayne Berwick, says refund will previously have been credited to the individual's mortgage accounts. If the mortgager prefer not to take it as cash in hand and apply for it to go to their account, we do allow this, We find that many times circumstances change, and this prepayment in the market acts as a cushion so persons are not to be in arrears immediately, Berbick stated. The Assistant General Manager informed that other persons who can receive their funds in cash are those obtaining loans under the NHD Joint Finance Program. The NHD is refunding contributions made in 2016 and earlier that have not yet been claimed. Refund applications must be submitted online from one of the channels provided by the NHD. Attorney at Law Gavin Goff explained that only motorists who paid illegal charges fined at tax office or during the prive period eligible for a refund. Only motorists who have paid the illegal charge fines at the tax office or at the traffic court during a prive period are eligible for a refund. That explanation was outlined by Attorney at Law Gavin Goff while responding to questions from taxi operators during last evening's virtual meeting of the Transport Operators Development Sustainable Services. They were discussing the recent ruling by the Constitutional Court that motorists illegally charged fines under the old 1938 road traffic legislation over a 15-year period ending in 2021 are entitled to a refund. The attorney explained that if a judge in court imposes a fine on the motorist, that is a separate matter for which the refund does not apply. He said payments made outside of the private period do not qualify for a refund.
You have two different set of people who paid at court, right? You have people who get a ticket, who go before the judge, and either they plead guilty or they go to trial and are found guilty, and the judge imposes a fine, which they have to pay to court. You see, that fine that they've paid is not an illegal fine. That fine has nothing to do with the amount that was written on the ticket. Sometimes it's less, sometimes it's the same, sometimes it's more. But that fine is not illegal and cannot be refunded. In the third amnesty, which they said wasn't an amnesty, right? The one that started at the beginning of last year, where everybody was going to court to pay the ticket, yes?
Yes.
And they were paying they were paying the amount of the ticket to the traffic court. Those would also be refundable.
Oh, so people who pay to the traffic court can get refund.
Hold on. People who pay to the traffic court under the reprieve. Remember, they had that thing at the beginning of last year. I think it ended like at the end of February or something last year. People who paid their traffic tickets at traffic court would also be entitled to a refund of the difference.
But
hold on, folks. Let me make it very clear. Outside of that reprieve period, whatever you were paying into court was not the traffic ticket. What you were paying into court then was a fine imposed by the judge, which is not illegal and which is not affected by this decision.
Voss pushing for public-private partnerships at transport centers. Decrying the woeful inadequate number of shelters at the Falmouth Transportation Center, Transport Minister Darrell Voss is recommending that private entities fund the improvement of municipal corporations run transportation hubs across the country in exchange for advertising at these facilities. To me, what needs to happen is the government needs to come up with a private-public sector arrangement, and that is unique to each transportation center individually because there are different demands and different requirements for different ones. But it would be good if you can get the private sector through the advertising companies and other big brands to put in the infrastructure and get the opportunity to brand, Voss stated. He was speaking during last Friday's visit to the Falmouth facility. Mayor C. Junior Gager, who is also chairman of the Trelawney Municipal Corporation TMC, had approached Voss for assistance to address the issue of inadequate covering. When you have 20,000 people moving through Falmouth Transportation Center a day, that is 20,000 potential customers for them. So it's a no-brainer that they would want to invest to be able to brand whether it is food stall that is being used here. They are using tarpaulins and tents now, whether it is the Air Force seating, whatever it is, the covering for the 11 bays is an easy business model that can be put in place, Voss added. In a move to ease traffic congestion in the Trelawney capital, operations at the Falmouth Transportation Center commenced September 1, 2023. But Voss has described as unacceptable that the absence of shelters for the 11 loading bays for taxis and buses serving the 22 routes and the limited seating at the facility. It pains my heart to come here and see what the average Jamaican has to go through on a daily basis to get to and from home and work. It is unacceptable. I am using the word unacceptable every day when I move around. It is unacceptable, and again, I have a limited role to play because the Transport Authority is not directly responsible, but I'll be more than happy to have the Transport Authority work in tandem with the Municipal Corporation and with the Minister of Government and come up with something holistic as we address this once and for all in every transportation center across Jamaica. Jamaicans deserve better, he argued. This is not a one-year-old problem, it has been a decades-old problem. This is from the time, immorally. This is enough blame to go around Jamaica 5 times. I am not interested in that. I want to be the one to transform, to make the people of Jamaica that unfortunately have to use public transportation do not in decent, honorable way with the comfort that they rightfully deserve as taxpayers in this country. That's my plan, he added. At the same time, Vols, who took note that the TMC has been trying to upgrade the facility despite limited resources, commended Keja and his team for facilitating some branding by private entities at the transportation center. I have seen enough by visiting a few transportation centers that none of them are in proper condition for the commuting public. Though this one here, I see what they have started already. All that needs to happen for Falmouth is to expand that in a structured way, allowing the private sector to work with the municipal corporation to be able to come up with something that will be beneficial for both. The big issue for the municipal corporations is that they don't have funding, so they are just pitchy-patchy, putting on band-aids. You can get private sector involvement that can put up money at all once to do it in a holistic manner, and that can be the template for other transportation centers, Fall stated. I have not been to other transport centers, but this one here for sure is the most impressive that I have been to because I see a level of order, a level of discipline, and I see real attempt with limited resources by the municipal corporation to make the place as best as it is within their powers and control based on funding requirements. This year, based on what we have seen, there is not a lot more. It just needs proper plan, and that plan has to come from a public-private partnership, and it can come in short order, he added. Geja expressed his gratitude to the Transport Minister for accepting his invitation to tour the Transport Center. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, and click the notification bell for daily updates.